everyone, and welcome to the Legal Tech Hub product briefing. I'm Stephanie Wilkins, Director of Content, and I'm delighted to be here today with Annie Lespérance, the Head of Americas at Jus Mundi. Welcome.
Thank you, Stephanie.
I'm so glad you're joining us today. Before we get into the demo, I was hoping maybe you could tell us, for our watchers who are not maybe familiar with Jus Mundi, a little bit about your own background and the company and what it does.
Absolutely. So my name is Annie Lespérance, as you mentioned. I'm Head of Americas at Jus. I'm actually a lawyer. I'm a member of both the Quebec and Paris law societies, and I've dedicated my practice to international arbitration. I've acted as tribunal secretary in over 50 international arbitration cases under the auspices of various arbitration rules and governing laws. I was also head of Latin America for a publicly listed dispute funder, focusing on investments in arbitration disputes in the region and across the globe. I'm also a mediator. I act as an arbitrator, and as head of Americas at Jus Mundi, my role involves overseeing our operations and strategic initiatives across North and South America. Now, in terms of Jus Mundi, what we do, so we are a legal tech company that provides Gen AI-powered global legal intelligence. So when the company was founded back in 2019, there wasn't a centralized database of primary sources in international law and arbitration in the market. And this is why Jus Mundi was founded. It was founded to democratize access to information in international law and arbitration, and thereby power the global rule of law through and thanks to technology. So we collect unique and exclusive data in arbitration thanks to our 90+ partnerships with arbitration institutions and associations worldwide. And with this, we have become the most comprehensive database in arbitration on the market. We have now more than 600 clients, from law firms, multinational corporations, governmental and academic institutions in more than 80 jurisdictions. We have truly become our clients' one-stop shop for all of their international law and arbitration legal research needs. And now with the advent of Gen AI combined with the best data on the market in this space, our Gen AI tool, Jus AI, is really best positioned to offer fast, reliable insights for legal research and to double productivity across drafting, translation, and document analysis workflows.
Wonderful. That's great. So we're about to go into a little bit of a demo of Jus Mundi. Can you give us just a little bit of a preview of what we're going to be seeing, and then we can jump in?
Absolutely. So what we'll look at today is our latest tool that we released back in September, which is our Gen AI tool called Jus AI. So this is a way for our users to explore the entirety of our database, but not through the traditional legal research function of filters and Boolean search, but by interacting with the Gen AI tool and asking questions and going also deeper, not just in terms of legal research, but with other types of use cases, including, as I was mentioning, translation, summarization, document analysis, and drafting.
Wonderful. Then without further ado, if we want to jump in, and you can share your screen and take it away.
Absolutely. Okay, so this is Jus Mundi's landing page. It's a very user-friendly product, as you can see. You have your search bar here, and I'm just going to do a blank search just to show you the breadth of our database. We're very transparent in terms of the quantity of information that we have on Jus Mundi. And here you can see we have 4 sub-databases in terms of publications, international treaties, the actual cases, and arbitration rules. So you see here we have more than 100,000 case documents. So this is the traditional way to search the database through these filters and the Boolean search here. But what I want to show you today is our Gen AI product called Jus AI. So I'm going to go right into Jus AI.
Great.
So this is here the landing page for Jus AI. As you can tell, we have a number of assistants to help you in your arbitration practice. So here you have suggestions as to how you can use the tool, and you can see here what are the types of use cases that we're currently working on that is in our product team's roadmap. So you can see here practitioner search and business development are 2 types of use cases that we're still working on that will be released soon. So I'm going to focus on these 4 here today. Legal research allows you really to interact with the entirety of these database to the exclusion of any other database or information on the market or the World Wide Web, for example. Here you have, but you can also interact with your own documents thanks to this function here, where you can upload your own documents to the tool, and then you can do document analysis, translate these documents that you've uploaded, or even draft. And I'll show you examples of that. Before I dive into the actual examples, I just want to showcase here our prompt guide, which is a very useful guide that provides tips for effective prompting, because to maximize the value of a tool like Jus AI, you need to know how to use it properly and to do prompting that will be effective in terms of the types of responses that you're looking for. And so here, for example, you have some advice as to you need to be clear and specific in your prompt. You can't just say a general prompt, but then you might not get the level of accuracy and precision that you're looking for in the response that is provided by the tool. You should also provide context to the tool, and you should also try and break down complex prompts. And I will showcase that as well as we go through the demo today.
That's great. That prompt guide is really useful. I know prompting is something a lot of people are looking for help with.
Absolutely. And obviously, we provide trainings to all of our users, and onboarding is actually mandatory on the tool. It's important for us that we set the tone with our users and that so that we clarify what type of expectations they may have vis-a-vis the tool and make sure that they use it correctly so that they actually get the maximum value out of these tools.
That's great.
So let's start here with the legal research prompt. I'm just going to copy paste here. So you see here the level of precision of my prompt. I'm giving context. I am counsel for claimant in an arbitration proceeding under the 2021 ICC arbitration rules. I am drafting our submissions on costs. I will claim, in addition to claimant's counsel costs in relation to the arbitration, the claimant's counsel costs incurred prior to the arbitration, but related to the disputes. Are there any awards issued under the ICC rules where the tribunal granted such costs? This is actually a situation that transpired in one of the cases I was handling before I joined Jus Mundi. And so here you saw how fast the tool provided an answer, and you see how the tool is also formatting the answer. This is a table providing with actual sources. So here, for example, you always have a reference that you can double check, and it will take you back to Jus database so you can actually double check where the information was taken from. So this is actually our way to mitigate against hallucinations. We cannot guarantee zero hallucinations, but our users are always able to verify where the statement that is made by the tool is coming from and looking at that source information. And as you saw, when I clicked here, it took me straight to the actual paragraph where it took the information from. You don't have to try and find, okay, where did the tool actually find that information? It takes you straight to the relevant area.
I noticed it took you to another tab so you didn't lose what you were doing.
Absolutely.
Which is great.
So here, I'm not necessarily, as a practitioner, I would not necessarily be happy with this answer because it's referring to actual arbitration rules and a note under the ICC arbitration rules. But what I'm really looking for is an award, right? Award or cases. So I'm going to continue interacting. I'm not going to stop here and say, I don't like this answer and stop here. No, I'm going to continue interacting with the tool. Okay. So are there any awards on this particular point? So now it's going to continue searching in the entirety of Jus database, again, to the exclusion of the World Wide Web, etc., to find the relevant answer to my question. And there we go. Now I actually have the awards that I was looking for. And again, with the actual sources that I can go back and double check on Jus Mundi's database.
Thanks.
And then what I can do, I can obviously copy this answer, paste it, share it with my team in that fashion. If I don't like the answer, I can click bad response and then provide some feedback to Mundi to see whether there's anything we need to change in the background. If you like the response, you can obviously click good response. Now what I'm going to do is I've asked the tool to provide this to answer this legal research question. Now what I can do is I can go deeper with the tools. So now I understand, okay, what are the relevant precedents or awards on this point? Now what I can do is I can go deeper and say, I now need to draft the claimant's cost submissions. Can you draft the section of the claimant's cost submission in respect of pre-arbitration costs, explaining the test under the ICC rules and how other tribunals have granted such costs? So again, you see the level of specificity, the context that I provide to the tool, and now you see how the tool is generating the answer in a memo format with the relevant footnotes and references to the actual cases, some of the cases that were referred to here in the previous response. Again, here, I can go deeper with the tool if I want the tool to expand on a specific point. I can simply, for example, paste this in a Word document and continue working on my submission on costs. Obviously, I'm going to need to insert and input some numbers in there, but here, actually, at least you have the kind of legal research part that is actually drafted already for you. So it facilitates your work as an associate or as a partner in terms of getting to that first draft that much more quickly. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new conversation with the tool, and I'll start with, I'm going to upload a document here. What I'll do here is I'm going to go in my personal vault. I've already pre-uploaded some documents here to the tool, and I'm going to upload here. This is the claimant's memorial and the dismute problem of last year. I'm trying to remain neutral here, so that's why I'm pre-uploading these two documents. So I'm putting myself in the shoes of counsel for respondent. I've just received claimant's memorial, and I'd like to interact a little bit with those documents. So I've uploaded them here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a simple kind of use case where I'm going to ask the tool, can you summarize the claimant's memorial and the factual background here? So this is a nice way for you to retrieve information that much more quickly and get to the granular points of the claimant's claim, so that you can, again, if your client is asking you, can you summarize this, and you can put it into the tool and you get a first summary. You can obviously ask the tool to expand on it if you feel the summary doesn't go deep enough. But here you see the summary being provided, and you see here one of the claimant's claim that is being made is the claimant is asking for the addition of a new claim later in the proceedings. And this is a case that was proceeding under the ICC, as you can tell, arbitration rules. So here, the tool, as you can see, is only interacting with the two documents that I have uploaded. You can see here in the footnotes, only interacting with those two documents that I have uploaded. And to be clear, when you upload documents to the tool, you're uploading them in a safe and secure environment. It's very important for us to provide that level of confidence. We are ISO certified. Our database is encrypted from end to end, and we have a partnership with Microsoft for zero. We have a zero, and with Microsoft, there's a zero retention policy. They are LLM provider, and so we're very mindful that even our LLM provider doesn't have access to anything that is being uploaded to the tool. And to be clear as well, whatever questions that you're inputting into the tool doesn't train the LLM or doesn't train the algorithm. So whatever document that you upload and then the questions that you ask will never trickle into another user's kind of questions and kind of answers that are being provided by the tool, because it's not training the tool. So I just wanted to be clear on that front, because I think it's important.
Agreed.
So now I have this summary of the claimant's memorial. Now what I can do is I'm going to ask the tool, okay, now I'm counsel for respondent. I am tasked with developing counter arguments. And now I'm going to break it down. You remember the prompt guide where it said you had to break down complex prompt? You cannot just ask the tool, provide me with a counter memorial. You have to break it down by argument, because you're going to get that much more specificity and accuracy with your answer. So I'm going to ask the counter arguments in relation to this claim. Here, what I want to do, because this is a legal research question, I'm going to ask the tool to interact not only with these two documents, but also with these data. So here I have clicked on the toggle so that I'm going to interact with both, again, these documents, but also the entirety of these database, because this is a legal research question, right? Could you outline the conditions under which new claims may be introduced in an ICC arbitration? So I want to understand the test really here. So here you have the answer that is being generated by the tool. What is the test in terms of being able to add new claims? And here you see you have some references coming from both, yes, the document that I've uploaded, but also Jus Mundi's database, as you can tell. And now what I'm going to do, okay, this is great. I understand the test now better, but what I want to do is actually draft the respondent's counter memorial on this point. So I'm going to continue interacting with the tool and ask it to do precisely that. And so then you'll see, and so again, you see the level of specificity in terms of, okay, draft the section of respondent's memorial that opposes the claimant's request to introduce a new claim, incorporating the relevant facts and legal arguments to demonstrate why the addition of a new claim should be rejected. So now you see how the tool in seconds is drafting you a first draft. We're not saying this is going to be a perfect draft or anything like that, but you get to a first draft that much more quickly that you can, again, copy, paste, and continue working on separately in a separate document. And again, you have the references and the footnotes here.
That's great.
Now what I'm going to showcase, I'm going to start a new conversation with the tool, and I want to showcase the multilingual capabilities here of Jus AI, because I think it's an important feature of our tool. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to upload a transcript. I've pre-uploaded already. This is the transcript of the Ruta Lima case. It's a 317-page transcript in Spanish because the proceedings were proceeding in Spanish. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start interacting with this transcript in English. So I'm going to ask questions in English in respect of this Spanish document, and I'm going to get responses in English, and then I can obviously ask the tool to translate some of these answers. So I'm going to start with a simple question. One of the witnesses in this case was Mr. Alfredo Boulard. So I'm going to ask the tool, can you summarize the testimony of Mr. Boulard? So this is a nice way. You've had the hearing, you were present at the hearing, but again, you want to refresh your recollection of what was said vis-a-vis by this specific witness. And so you can ask the tool to do precisely that. Again, you're going to get footnotes that refer directly back to the transcript, and again, specifically to the precise page of the transcript where that information was taken from by the tool. Now, again, I was mentioning this is a 317-page transcript. I think this answer is a bit short for such a long hearing. So what I can do, I say, don't stop here. Continue interacting with the tool. I'm polite. I'm Canadian, so I'm polite. I will say please to the tool. Please expand this answer. And so here the tool will now dig deeper and provide a more fulsome answer. So you see here, you saw here, it was just 3 paragraphs. Now it's breaking it down by actual kind of themes around what was discussed during his witness testimony. And now what is great is I can continue interacting with the tool and say, can you identify weaknesses or contradictions in Mr. Boulard's testimony? And this is fantastic because obviously you were present in the hearing. You have probably identified some of these weaknesses and contradictions and started drafting your own cross-examination questions. But again, this is a nice way for the tool to help you and assist you in that creative iteration process of drafting these cross-examination questions. Now, as a practitioner, I look at these questions and I don't like the way they're formulated. I would prefer leading questions. I would like a tone that is a little bit more passive aggressive. And so this is actually something I can ask the tool to do. So can you redraft these questions, these first 3 ones, to be leading questions? And can you also provide with some follow-up questions for each? And the tone should be passive aggressive. So again, this is a nice way. For example, you have your associates drafting a first draft of cross-examination questions. They can always upload these questions to the tool, and then the tool can check whether they are actually in leading format, whether they should be redrafted in certain tone, etc. So it's helpful. It assists associates who might be new to these types of exercises to correct their work before it's actually being sent off to a partner. So you see here the tone. Isn't it true, Mr. Boulard, that? So you see how the tone has changed and how the questions are much more narrow. They're leading questions compared to the first draft that you had here.
Right.
And now, as I was saying, the hearing is being conducted in Spanish. And so what I can do is ask the tool to translate these questions in Spanish. This tool can actually work in several languages. And you'd be surprised. We even spoke recently with a judge in Ethiopia that was obviously fluent in a certain dialect in Ethiopia. And we tested the tool in that specific dialect and it actually worked. So all kind of major languages, but also sometimes dialects, it also works. Sometimes you need that level of specificity. And so here you see you have the translation. You can copy, paste it, and continue working on this. So again, these are some types I've tried to show you today how you can really leverage first this database that is specific to arbitration for any type of legal research questions. We've had some users, sometimes our users are testing both kind of generalist tools versus specialized AI tools. And obviously for an arbitration practitioner, if you ask your arbitration related questions to our tool vis-a-vis a generalist tool, you're getting that much a better quality level of answer with our tool because it is based on a specialized database that is only in relation to arbitration. So you get much better response in that sense, better accuracy and better quality of your responses thanks to our database. But what I've also tried to show you today is how you can also use this tool by uploading your counsel for claimant or counsel for respondent. You're uploading, the claimant's brief. How you can use this tool as an assistant in the creative iteration process of actually drafting, of analyzing what's happening here, spot any contradictions, weaknesses, and this and that. And obviously translation translation of document, especially in international arbitration, where you have many cross-border disputes and sometimes you have exhibits in different languages, you know how translations can be very costly. Having that feature is also very useful. So I hope this was helpful.
Yeah, as a former arbitration lawyer, I've been excited to see this one in action for a while. For those watching at home, you will see a URL at the bottom of the screen where you can reach out to find more about Jus Mundi and maybe contact Annie and her team if you have any questions. Thank you so much for joining us today. This was wonderful.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. And please do reach out if you have any further questions.
Great, thanks.